So let's talk quickly about sizing. So for anyone that's on social media and you're on more than 2 social media sites, and I would really suggest if you're starting out, start out with 2 sites. That's it, because it can get really overwhelming. How do they find out what, there's different sizes. So you have, Instagram has one size, Facebook has another size, probably, I don't know, Behance and Pinterest. So
So one easy way that I do anything that I'm taking a picture for and I'm using it on Instagram, most phones now have a square option. So if you go to when you're taking the photo to begin with and you just click over to the square box, it's already going to start you with that shape. So then you're gonna know exactly what it's going to look like when you actually take the photo because you already have that square box set up. And with that, most of them is, when you take pictures on your phone or on a professional camera, they're so high right now, the quality. So as long as you send it to yourself, however you're gonna transfer to something else, as long as you do it at the full quality, you can use that anywhere else and it will adjust for each platform. It will let you crop it, or you can take it into, there's a lot of free apps also that you can look online, and if you need something that has to be the opposite way of what you took it, you can use one of those apps and put your picture in and it will automatically put white above it and below it to make it fit that platform. So those are some super easy ways to start out taking the images correctly.
Are there any third-party apps that you'd like to use?
Snapseed.
What? I've never heard of that. Snapseed, S-N-A-P.
Snapseed.
Oh, Snapseed. Okay. How does that work?
It's a photo editing app. It allows you to add white box or dark boxes around your photos. It also allows for a greater variety of filters than you have available to you on Instagram, and they are, in my opinion, crisper, far more balanced. It allows for a lot of editing, and it's a free app. It's amazing. Another one, there are other apps that do filters as well. I understand there's one that's completely dedicated to black and white filters. I actually don't. I mean, I like black and white filters, but Snapseed literally provides more than enough for me. And it allows you to do, you don't have to edit or distort your image in order to go ahead and build a white box around it with Snapseed. You can, you don't have to cut your image to add the border. You can just take the image that you already have and edit it or just manipulate it to whatever you need.
And why a white border?
It's the white border is if you take something that's like for Instagram is the regular square, but say you want to, and it's a video or whatever, and you want to put it in your Instagram stories and you need it to be longer instead of the square, adding that white border will make it fit in there so that it actually keeps your image looking correctly, instead of if you just put your image up there and it's square and the other one is more vertical, it's gonna just store it and like really zoom in. So it's an easy way to keep your image looking exactly how you want it, but having it go to all the other being usable on all the other platforms.
Interesting.
So it's a nice way to do that.
For me, it boils down to aesthetics. The majority of my work is content curation, and I do graphic images, but I do photography, I do candid photography, and I have product placement photography, but that's not something that I do very often. The majority of my products or my photos are people, places, events that are taking place, or words. And so when I'm adding those borders, it's just an aesthetic way to make the content look just a little more original, a little different. I mean, there are entire Instagram accounts dedicated to keeping that white border in place and having the photo in the center, and so they'll have different photos, a longer one here, a square one here, a wider landscape style one here, and the whole thing will be white and congruent as a whole, as the profile, but with each individual image spaced out. I mean, it just gets down to what each person wants or how they want to design their page.
Does anyone here use any other type of a app to manipulate images for social media?
I use VCSO, I think it's called.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's free and it's pretty popular.
It's VC?
VESO.
VC Yes, VSCO.
That's what I thought. Okay, VS.
Another good one is Lightroom. If you have the Adobe
Right.
subscription app, you can get it on here and it automatically hooks up to the cloud. So
Okay.
it saves it automatically everywhere.
Great post photo editing.
Yeah. So what I use to create images is Canva, Canva, and I do it on my computer. Although I have it on my phone, I have it on my iPad, but
It has limits on the phone.
it does have limits on the phone. But for me, because I'm not selling product, I'm selling services. So I usually create. So like I created this image here, the wholesale. So I built this on Canva and I built it in a square, but for Instagram specifically. But you can also create the same image as a Facebook post and as a Facebook header, because now I have an event. So I need an event header. I need for Facebook, I need a Facebook post. I need an Instagram post. I want something for LinkedIn. And Twitter can pretty much be anything. And what I find too, if I throw my Instagram image into LinkedIn, it's huge on the page, and I'm probably pissing people off. So unfortunately, when I'm creating something, it's like 7 images, and it takes a really long time. But again, you know, that's me doing it, and I'm not a professional. But I do like Canva because it allows me to create images, words. It has a lot of free images in there, text, borders, frames.
Canva's a game changer.
Oh, seriously, because I use Photoshop. So I can do Photoshop, but Canva's like just there, it's just like kind of drag and drop. The one thing I don't like that it can't do is it doesn't have the color gauge, it doesn't have the dropper. So if I need an HTML color, or I have to go into Photoshop, get the color, go back into Canva and copy it. So that's really the only thing that I'm missing.
I went ahead and just shortcutted a list of color codes because.
Oh, yeah.
And there are websites that you can go to if you need an image.
Oh, yeah.
Get color HTML, I believe. I think it's hyphens in its address, but it's a site you can go on and you can pull. You'd have to download it, but you can upload any image that you need to pull color from, and it'll give you a selector square, and any part of the image you can sort of drag it over it, and it'll pull up whatever code you need from that particular image, and you can then take that back to Canva. But yeah, you're right. You do have to go to a third party if you want to figure out what you're doing, or you can just guess with the best of them.
Yeah, exactly. So any one of these, Snapseed, Canva, or VSCO, or Lightroom, help you manipulate images. Of course, you can do that on Instagram itself when you're on your phone. So let's talk hashtags for a second. I'm sure there's people in the room, people on the live stream who have questions about hashtags. So what are hashtags? Does anyone know?
Hashtags are categorization words that you use when you are posting an image. Instagram is almost useless. I mean, it's not totally useless, but it's pretty useless unless you incorporate a hashtag. Twitter, it's more optional. Twitter used to be more hashtag driven, but as Facebook finally adopted hashtags, Twitter is more content and title driven now. But on Instagram, hashtags are key. I use platforms to do hashtag research.
Yeah.
Like Keyhole is a great site.
Okay. That's interesting.
Not only does it lets you pull up the hashtag that you're searching for to find out what type of engagement is going on, but you can also, it'll pull up a family of related hashtags for you. So while you're building your Instagram posts, and let's say you're using a platform to post, now that Instagram allows third-party posting, let's assume you're building your post and you need to do the editing, the image ahead of time, and schedule it. You can go on a site like Keyhole. Let's say you're looking at something in, well, I don't want to go by the news right now.
No. So encaustic.
Okay.
Encaustic paint.
You can look up the word caustic. It'll pull to me, caustic is the
Encaustic. Okay, so let's do acrylic.
Okay, acrylic. So if you're looking up the word acrylic, it'll pull up related materials, words you may not have even heard of. It'll show you the top engaged hashtags. It'll show you what's trending on Instagram and Twitter at this today. And it constantly refreshes that information. It is a paid app, but there are parts of it that you can use for free. You can look up any Twitter or Instagram account for engagement information. I mean, it has other services besides hashtag searching. But you can also look, the hashtag search is free, but there is more powerful features that are available that are paid only.
And so for those of you who don't know what a hashtag is, so tonight, and for all of the think tanks, it's hashtag EC Think Tank. And what that means is, let's say that you're on Twitter, and you want to know what's going on in this event from the people that are tweeting about this think tank. You would type in the search, hashtag EC Think Tank, and everyone that has written something about this event will be on there, so you can see what people are talking about. So if people were doing Instagram tonight or tweeting and they use the hashtag EC Think Tank, everything that's happening in this space is in that social media platform. So it's kind of like if you're in that party, right? If you're in the Twitter party and there's different rooms, right? So every room has a different hashtag. So there's a hashtag pink room, and there's a hashtag pony, and there's a hashtag rainbows, and I don't even know why I'm going this space, but you want to know what's happening in a certain room, you have to use that hashtag to enter that room, and you're going to see all the people in that private room for that particular hashtag. But hashtags are used definitely in Instagram, hashtags, Instagram, Twitter. I don't really use them on Facebook. Yeah. If you want to grab someone's attention who's looking for things that you are projecting, you use hashtags, and it gets people's attention. And you don't just use one, you use a handful.
For hashtags for Instagram, the recommended amount is really between 15 and 30.
30 is the max.
30 is the max. 30 is the max you can do. But one thing is that with the new algorithm changes that they have, it kind of has messed up that hashtag, the hashtag issue. So it really is better to put more on Instagram if you want it to come up and you want your work to be seen. And one big thing about using hashtags on Instagram is you cannot use the same hashtags every time you post something. If you can't use the same ones every time, like if you post something every day and you put Art of Instagram every single day, your work will get banned because it thinks that you're a bot, and so it will spam it. So with that, you just have to make sure that you have a list of ones that you use. When I do mine, I personally have in my notebook on my phone, I'll put like a whole bunch of hashtags that I can use, and I've sorted them by different categories. So when I'm making a post, I write it in my notes, and then I copy whatever hashtags I want, and then put that whole thing over into my Instagram post. And a new thing that started in January also is if you put hashtags in comments, they no longer come up in search. It's something new. So every time the only thing that comes up in search now is the actual hashtags in your original post caption. So that's something too that you have to be aware of with Instagram, is that they have to be in there, and just be aware of any hashtags that you're using. They can get shadow banned, which is something that Instagram also just started in January, where if you look up a hashtag, like you look up the hashtag, I believe it was like logo design or logo, one of those, it's a banned hashtag now, so nothing will come up under there. So if you type hashtag and then whatever your word is on Instagram, and there's nothing under that, do not use that hashtag, because it means that your post will not be searchable, and only people who already follow you will be able to see that post.
Right.
So, some new changes.
I want to add, shadow banning is something to totally be concerned about. It didn't used to apply to hashtags as much. It used to apply to third-party posting. So you use another site to push Instagram posts like OnlyPulse. Instagram will make it so the only people who can see your post are the people who are already following you. Depending on what type of content you create, that can be a great thing. Like one of my accounts that I manage, it was wonderful because we had a fairly large audience that was looking specifically for our type of content. So more of the people who are already following us saw our content, and they were a very engaged audience that liked to share and repost anyway. So I wasn't terribly affected by that. But another site that I was building up that was much smaller, using a third party like OnlyPulse, it kept my audience small. So it's not just about hashtags. Sometimes it's about even employing another site, because honestly, Instagram, their goal is to have you with your phone in your hand posting content. They're, as much as they're trying to make a way for brands and influencers to make the site easier for us, it really has always been driven by personal use. It was always originally meant for personal use, family, friends. The platform was not built for businesses, so they had to go back and sort of rethink how they used, or how the platform is used, because these were issues that other businesses were running into. Like, if you have an account manager, they're not supposed to be sitting there with their phone in their hand all day long posting your content. That's a time waster. That's an issue. So, but now that they have influencers and they're incorporating things like, I want to say, the little location mark where you can now say that you have branded or
sponsored posts.
Sponsored, branded partner content. They make that sort of thing available now because there's a lot of issues with fake accounts, posting fake products being sold on Instagram, fake Jordans, for instance, being sold on Instagram, fake Yeezys. And because the platform is visual driven and hashtag driven, there was nothing to suss out what was real and what wasn't. So now they're having to go back and rebuild all of these features into the platform to help optimize for brands and ads that were never in. It was never intended. It was never even a thought when Instagram debuted, like I've been on Instagram for about 5 years now, 6 years this year. Okay, 6 years. In 2012, I was a little late to the game because it had already been around, I think, since 2010. So that was not even a thought. It was, I'm going to send this picture of my cake to my friend Susie, and that's it. That's all.
And now it's turned into this business, this platform to sell, to work, and to get noticed, and to become a brand expert and influencer.
You can be a brand expert on Instagram only.
Yeah. So we're going to walk that back a little bit. So hashtags. Let's say that you have a hashtag in mind that you'd like to do that explains what it is you're selling and who you want to reach. So, that's really the whole thing. It's not just, the hashtag shouldn't just be exotic art, but it should be exotic art. But then you have to know too, it's really, really important that you understand your target market, who you're selling to, what words do they look for, where are they online, on all these places, where are they? Because you could spend a lot of time going to all these different platforms and never find them if you don't know them. And really that is the key. It's every relationship you ever want to build, you have to know the person on the other side. If you don't know them well, you can't sell to them. You can't sell to them, you can't speak to them because you can't find them. So know your client, all of your different markets. And then figure out where they are online and know what keywords, know what words they are searching for online. And what you can do is go into Twitter, go into Instagram, go into the search field, type in the hashtag and the word that you think could be a good word, and it'll show you 325 people use this word. Well, that's not a really strong word, considering that, if you put in the word hashtag design, there's like 9 million people using that hashtag, but that's too much. Because now you may not be seen at all. So it's really getting that sweet spot, but first things first is knowing who your audience is. And you can play too with hashtags, using the notes. I use notes, so I have a whole list of hashtags by category, and I poll, and I test, and I see, and it's times of day too, and that's something we probably won't get into today. But really hashtags is what private room are you getting into, and how many people are there, and do they want to meet you?
Now, I do want to add one thing regarding Twitter. Twitter is turning into a really interesting platform. A lot of people kind of pronounced it dead. I personally got into it after a lot of people got off of it. I liked it a lot better that way. But on Twitter, you don't want to use more than 3 or 4 hashtags for your posts because it's so sentence driven. Even though they upped the post limit to like 280 characters now, so twice the original limit, you still want to use 3 or 4 hashtags top, because after that, the posts start to be considered spammy visually. It starts to look like, oh, this is clutter. I don't want to do that. So 3 or 4 hashtags on Twitter tops will be sufficient, but that means you have to be much more precise and zero in on exactly what hashtags you want to use for that post. With Instagram, you can go blue sky, green sky, red sky, but Twitter, you're like, okay, workshop, EC think tank, okay, I want to focus on Midtown art workshop.
Right.
You have to get straight to the point with Twitter. There is no time wasting on Twitter.
Okay.
But they have a lot more available too. They now have incorporated video, sort of similar to the way Facebook has video, where you can even swipe down and have it in the corner of the app and it's still playing, and you can go look around and click into an article and everything and still be able to listen to that video. So Twitter is getting really versatile. I would suggest not counting Twitter out.